It's time for the best part of the quarter. This is In the Middle with Ewing, and I'm Brandon Ewing, your middle school principal. We've got a great plan for this video. We've got an interview with Mr. Todd Clingman, our head of school, and I think you're going to like a lot of what he has to share about our strategic plan and the growth and development in our middle school. And then I want to talk about our growing math program and some things with that, and then go over some events that are coming up for the rest of this semester. So let's get started. Well, Mr. Clingman, thanks for joining In the Middle with Ewing and getting to talk with our middle school parents. And thank you for taking the time to be with us and to speak directly to them. I've got some questions that I want to ask you about our middle school program and around the strategic plan that you have been so instrumental in developing over the last few years. I wonder, first off, if you could talk about, in leading that strategic plan, what's the heart behind the plan, and what do you see as the most important goals of our strategic plan?
Sure. Well, I think when we started working on that plan, when we were hitting our 40th anniversary, and so we're a fairly mature school now. So you ask yourself, what does the next chapter hold for North Cobb Christian? What should the next several years look like? The world is dynamic, it's changing, and so it's like, how do you continue to challenge kids on the academic front with the way the world's changing, at the same time staying true to our philosophy, our theology, to our core beliefs? And so really just contemplating, hey, this is God's school. What does He have for us in this next chapter? And that's really the heart behind it. And it really focuses on our community. We talk about family a lot, so that's a huge part of it, kind of in line with the whole cultivating hearts, challenging minds, impacting culture. So it's a big piece of it. We want to look at how do we continue to maintain our family atmosphere where kids have their hearts cultivated. Obviously, as a school, we want to challenge them academically to reach their potential to become really Christian thinkers and to be a voice in this culture, which desperately needs the voice of hope, the voice of truth, the voice of reason. And I think faculty is a big part of that as well. So just how do we continue to move forward in a way that meets the needs of the 21st century for our kids, while at the same time holding on to absolute truth and to the gospel.
That's great. And moving forward, continuing to develop the program, I know that parents are probably very thankful for your vision to do that, not to just stay put, but to continue to grow it. When we think about middle school, and some of the things you talked about, becoming a voice and really stepping into the role of Christian leadership that's needed. Middle school is the territory where they're developing. Can you speak a little bit? I'm sure parents are interested. They've got maybe some lower school students. They've got students in the middle school where they're coming up into it. What about the strategic plan speaks directly to those middle school grades of 5 through 8?
Well, middle school excites me because it's 4 pivotal grades of a kid's life. Adolescence, from 5th grade through 8th grade. Think about the difference between a 5th grader and an 8th grader alone. And you plug that into our 16 grade levels. It's right in the middle of their career at North Cobb Christian. And so I think the clay is wet, the concrete is not dry. And the opportunity that we have to mold the hearts and minds of those kids in middle school. Dobson always used to say that a kid's worldview is pretty much solidified by the time they're 12. So we get them at a very, very pivotal part of life. Some of those kids that we have in our middle school have been here for a long time. They're what we call lifers, but we get a lot of new 6th graders. And so what do we do during that very malleable, pliable, impressionable time of life? I'm of the opinion that if we're everything we need to be for those middle school kids as teachers and coaches, they're at an age where they'll run through a wall for us. And so super, I don't like the phrase, I survived middle school. I think it's a time of life to thrive, yep. And we shouldn't just use it as a time to gut through it. I think we should seize every opportunity. I'm so proud of, under your leadership and all of our faculty and staff, the number of opportunities our kids have, certainly in the academic arena, but when you look at what the kids are able to do in arts and athletics and student life at North Cobb Christian, it is a lot of things, and that's middle school. It's a time of life to try something new. It's a great a la carte time of life, smorgasbord of, I'm going to try theater, I'm going to try football, I'm going to take an honors class, I'm going to stretch myself. But I think it's a time as parents and teachers that we need to really start helping kids think about where they're going to go in the future, and to develop those skills and character qualities and discipline to set the tone for high school and beyond. So I think it's a super exciting time of life.
Just mentioned there one. And I think as parents, we've got to be thinking about this happens a lot sooner than we see it outwardly as adults. Inwardly, it's such a pivotal time. By the age of 12, that their worldview is largely shaped. That's a crucial thing. And then not just surviving middle school. I think a lot of us are just hoping to survive those years, but thriving through it. And that's one of the things that I saw with our strategic plan, speaking in like section 6 about leadership and coming into the middle school. That what an opportunity we have in middle school students to develop leadership. That's why we've adopted the Leader in Me program. Curious what excites you about the Leader in Me program and developing leadership in middle school students, and how does that connect with the strategic plan?
Well, I was super excited about it because I would say The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People was one of the most influential books I've read over my career, and I think there's a lot of biblical principles in that book. And so, if you Google leadership, there's a million definitions. But I think for me, leadership is about opportunity to influence. And obviously, kids have all different styles. There are some very on the stage with a microphone, extroverted kind of leaders that are just movers and shakers. We see that throughout history. But I think you can be a leader in your small peer group just with a kind of a quiet style. So I think all of our kids, we shouldn't say, this group is the leaders, and this, everyone has the opportunity to lead and to influence their peer group, their middle school, their county, their state, their nation. We just never know who's in our classroom. And so I love the idea of Leader in Me. It's got some great principles. And for kids to be able to be exposed to that starting in 5th grade, what does that do to set the table for high school, for college, for family, for adulthood, for just impacting the world for Christ? I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, one of the big things that's unsaid oftentimes about middle school, but beyond the academic preparations, athletics, fine arts, all those things, like the life skill component and developing, ways to be effective, managing your studies, and then really step up in leadership, which it creates leadership opportunities for students to lead their own learning, to lead their peers. So I couldn't agree more. I think it's really going to develop some sharp students for high school and beyond high school. Do you have a favorite principle from Leader in Me? So if you've studied, Stephen Covey's Highly Effective People, is there one that you really
It's hard to pick one. So before he even gets into the 7 habits, he talks about the paradigm shift. And I love the idea. If you remember, there was a picture in his book, and if you look at it, everybody either sees the young lady or the old hag. And it's hard to see one without the other, but then as soon as you see both of them, you'll never unsee it. And it just really is a powerful visual that we all have paradigms. And sometimes it's really important to see from someone else's perspective. And so I think I would pick 2 habits that I love. The paradigm shift kind of leads into the idea of, seek first to understand and then to be understood. And so I think teaching kids to listen to other people and listen to the other perspective and hear what the other side has to say, and then articulate their position, and to be able to have that idea of, let me seek first to understand you before I want to have you understand my perspective, is a great one of the great 7 habits there, and it's biblical. And then I think the whole idea of beginning with the end in mind, and that's great for middle school, because let's not start talking about this in high school or college and beyond, and get the kids thinking right now. What are your goals before you get out of middle school? What are your goals? I mean, there are certain things, if you don't do them well in middle school, you're going to limit your opportunities in high school. And that's not just true academically. We think of academics, but it's going to be true in the athletic arena, but it's true in our character. If we start to compromise little things in our character, it doesn't get easier or better when you get to high school.
I found that in teaching them, you mentioned the principle of seeking to understand before you're trying to be understood. We found that we're down 68% in discipline reports in our school already this year from previous years. And I think a large part of that has to do with training students, a good way of thinking and interacting with others. That comes from the Leader in Me program as well. And then purpose, beginning with the end in mind. If you can have a purpose, if I look at my life, I'm sure all of us would, as adults, look back. If I could just have pinned down my purpose a lot sooner in life, man, I'd be a lot further. So I think it's a great gift to our middle school students in undergoing this program.
Well, and I would just pause there and give yourself a little credit. I feel like as the leader of the middle school, you're 100% behind our mission. You've molded your faculty in a way that is behind that mission. You've set expectations. Leader in Me is certainly a component of it, but you've set the standard, what the expectations are, and kids will rise to wherever we set the bar. And that's true with, we're trying to teach them leadership, whether it's in sports, sometimes we don't give kids enough credit. And we see here even in preschool, in our math program. When we raise the bar, they blow us away. And so I think if they're going to realize their potential, part of that is because we've set the bar high enough to where they can get there.
Yeah, good points. Let's switch gears to wisdom here. And as the head of school, one of the attributes you got to have is great wisdom. So I'm curious if, middle school being a formative time for students, what words of wisdom would you share with our middle school families as they're developing leaders in their home right now?
Well, I'm a parent of 3 22-year-olds. Yeah. As most of you know, I have triplets. And so anything I would share under this umbrella would probably be things I wish I could go back and do a little different.
Sure.
But it's not super philosophical, but keep the main thing the main thing. We get so caught up in whether my kid made the volleyball team or whether they got a B on their math test. And I would be consumed with identity and truth.
Yeah.
Even in the middle school years, these kids are trying to figure out who they are. And a lot of them are defining that by scrolling social media, by their peer groups, and just really talking to your kids and looking at identity in Christ. We're living in a world right now that wants to, identity politics is alive and well, and everyone's identifying themselves with some partisan constituent group. And I think if we focus on our identity is in Christ, that's a huge thing in middle school. It'll help them navigate middle school and life so much better. I would say on a more practical level, keep the cell phones, keep all the technology out of their bedrooms, TVs, cell phones, computers, no technology at dinner. Let them be bored. It's okay, let them be bored. I think part of what we figure out when we're bored is how to create and how to be, build and how to be entrepreneurial and don't feel like you have to have a plan. Like every Saturday, are you the parent that always has, this is what we're going to do? I got to have a plan. Let them figure it out on their own and let them fail. Let them figure things out without you intervening and rescuing them. And there's so many things that go on in middle school that are good teaching opportunities where they can get away from their technology, be bored, figure things out. Don't let mom and dad solve all their problems. Let them fail a little bit. Let them skin their knee. Let them learn life lessons. And they're going to be better leaders. They're going to be better citizens. They're going to be better believers. They're going to impact the culture for Christ more effectively if they can, have those training wheels taken off a little earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great advice. When it comes to our middle school looking forward, I guess what are you most excited about on the horizon and what's next in the strategic plan for middle school specifically?
I think I don't know that we can stuff much more quantity-wise into our middle school. Again, when you look at all those opportunities, I think it's just about growing and getting better at what we do, continuing to provide our faculty with professional development opportunities. I think areas for them to grow in their faith, so that can trickle down to our students. I think even helping our parents go to another level in their spiritual formation, understanding why we believe what we believe, that there is absolute truth, and I think that kids can take what we already offer, and with a deeper level of thinking, they can be better orators for the faith and for their vocation and for their craft when those days come. We continue to mold our faculty and staff and make sure we have the right team on board and just having the right leaders, not just in the classroom, but in the athletics and the arts. I think partnering with parents, we do a good job, but we can always do better there. And then just to continue to talk up the good word out there. I mean, part of our thing is we want to impact the most kids we can. And so while we're pretty full in middle school, we do have a few opportunities helping our community around us understand that we start in 5th grade. That's unique because most schools start in 6th. As a parent, I'd love for my kids to get kind of a year under their belt in 5th grade so they're ready for what you might call true middle school in 6th. But I just think most of it's not about more, it's about becoming more effective and to become better quality to go with our quantity in all the things we do in what I call the 4 buckets of academics, arts, athletics, and student life. But that comes with great leadership. So I'm confident that with you and the team that we've assembled in the middle school and even the school at large, and then our kids going through Leader in Me and learning how they can become better leaders, the trickle down of what that's going to result in is going to be super exciting to watch.
Okay. Well, thank you very much again for the time to sit aside. Parents, you heard it from Mr. Clingman himself, and we're excited about the great things that are to come in our middle school.
It's been great to be in the middle.
Well, we had a great talk with Mr. Todd Clingman, our head of school. We're thankful for the time that he spent with us, and we talked a little bit about the Leader in Me program during that interview. And one of the things that we're attaching to this video is called Leadership Roles at Home, and I want to go over that with you just briefly. You've got a little bit of Leader in Me work that you can do at home if you want to partner with us. This is a document called Leadership Roles at Home. And one of the great things that we do in our classrooms now with Leader in Me is we create leadership opportunities for students to take charge of their classroom. And so you can see that this document talks about different leadership roles that you could have at home, like a greeter leader, somebody who greets the neighborhood during a walk or mails a note or card to a friend or relative. That's something your children could do at home. How about an information officer? This is somebody who reports on the weather to the family and draws a picture of the weather that day with the date. They might make a note of something fun or something that challenged you during the day and share with your family at dinner time. So this gives you some ideas of great leadership roles that you can build into your home. I wanted to spend some time talking about the goals of our growing math program school-wide, but in our middle school as well. You know, our math program has a wonderful set of learning outcomes that we've developed school-wide, and those start with a biblical grounding. We wanted to ground math and science, all of our subjects, in the Bible, because that is so greatly important that we develop the biblical worldview of our students. And math is one of those subjects that so clearly points to the truth of God that we don't want to lose that. I see a lot of times that we lose students in their faith in math and science, and it ought not to be so, because those are two of the greatest subjects that point to our Creator and the fact that God has made an orderly world, a world that can be defined by mathematics. And so we start with biblical grounding, but we also continue to develop strong foundations in math basics. Starting in our lower school, learning the times tables, becoming fluent in mathematics. That way they have the knowledge in their brain to use. And that continues in our middle school as we continue to reiterate that, work on it. But we don't leave there, because middle school is a time, 5th through 8th grade, where we're starting to develop from concrete thinking in our lower school years to more abstract thinking. And so we want to match that with real world application and starting to transition to some deeper thinking and context. I don't know about you, but when I learned math growing up, I didn't enjoy it too much because I really didn't have context to it, and I couldn't see how to use it in the real world. One of the great strengths of our math program is that students are learning to explain what they're doing with mathematics, learning multiple routes to the same true answer, and that develops problem-solving skills that we want them to have, and the real-world application helps them to see, this is how I could use this in the real world. So we've got a lot of great things that are going on in our math program. We want to make it engaging, enjoyable for the students, and also prepare them for the future. And so we're working on continually making that better. One of the things that I've got feedback on from our parents is the need for more parental resources with math. So we've been working on developing parent resources. And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to put a big blue button right on our grade level home pages, right where it says syllabus and access to the week at a glance. We're going to put a math resources button there for you. Hopefully by the time this video is out to you, you'll have access to that, and that way you can access what are they working on in this unit this week and take you right out to resources that will help you as a parent. I've also heard some things about Math Lab, and we want to make some adjustments to Math Lab. The purpose of Math Lab right now is not the end goal. The end goal is getting your students with their math teacher 5 days a week, and we're working on that. And I think for next school year, when we have the schedule done, that you will see that happen. Math Lab is just a way, intermediate step to help us get that right now in our current schedule before we make scheduling changes. But we want to make some adjustments to Math Lab as we go into the new year, and we want to get some reports out to you so you can see the things that they're doing. We've made great advancement with Math Lab in just this first quarter of the year. Our students have made 3/4 of a year's growth in basic foundational math, which is so important to help them stay at speed and get ahead in their mathematics as well. So I'm really proud of our math team that we have. They've worked really hard at making improvements, and we're building an excellent math program for our middle school and beyond. Let me switch gears now and talk about some upcoming events for the quarter. As we head into the month of November, we have our great Veterans Day Chapel on November the 7th. And for middle school students, of course, we're going to invite veterans from our community and the surrounding community to a breakfast that morning, and then they'll attend a chapel service just for them. But our middle school students will enjoy that in their normal chapel spot. We'll be in the gymnasium that day for the Veterans Day Chapel. And then coming up in November, the middle of November, November the 13th, we have our Shadow Day. So rising 4th grade students will be joining us in the middle school, and then our 8th graders who are rising into 9th grade, they're going to be over in the upper school that day and get to shadow and see what the future looks like for them at North Cobb Christian School. I, of course, want to make mention of our middle school musical. It's Madagascar Junior this year. Mrs. Pinner does a tremendous job with that. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be in the Fab Thursday through Saturday, November the 13th through the 15th, starting at 7 p.m. each night. Be on the lookout for tickets. They sell out quick to Madagascar Junior. And then as we head towards the end of November, we're looking at Thanksgiving break. November the 24th through the 28th, there'll be no school that week. We hope you enjoy time with your family and friends over the Thanksgiving holiday. And then we've got lots of great student life activities. And our big one this semester is the Gel Blaster Capture the Flag tournament. And that is Saturday, December the 6th. It's going to be at 7 p.m. on the football field. So get your Gel Blasters ready. We're going to have a great time that Saturday there in December. And a couple last things here as we head out through the semester. Our Fine Arts Christmas Chapel. You're invited to attend that. Our fine arts groups are going to be performing lots of Christmas music. We'll have a devotional brought by our middle school chaplain, Tiffany Justice. That'll be December the 18th in the Commons. And we look forward to seeing you join us for that special chapel. And then as we look into the new year, when we come back from Christmas break, we have our Spiritual Emphasis Week. And we're so excited to have evangelist Tim Thompson with us. That's going to be January the 6th through the 9th. That first day back from break is actually a teacher work day, so students will join us Tuesday. And all that week, Tim Thompson's going to bring the Word of God to us in a very powerful way. We're going to have great music, another great way to start off the spring semester. And just to put on your radar, finally in January, the ERB testing. So January 26th through the 30th are the dates for that. Nothing you really need to do, just have it on your mind that students will be tested. And that's a good week to get lots of good rest, eat well, and come to school prepared for those ERB tests. Well, I hope you enjoyed the talk with Mr. Clingman and all of the updates about where our school is headed. Great things are going on here in our middle school. I just want to remind you, if I can help you in any way, don't hesitate to ask, because we're here in the middle with you. Thank you.